That's the skill that Cake continues to flex as he continues his, I can't say undisputed #1 status anymore, but I can say his like absolute dominance from a legacy standpoint. Like, he has continued to prove and continued to show his ability to play through just about any different player and any different character, especially in best of fives this season, as even at Riptide he had a couple really terrifying scares against players like Question Panic in order to try and make his way deeper into the bracket. Very well, same story could happen here, as Plastic Dinos is no slouch whatsoever. One of two fantastic Clarence that we have got going on here, and he's off to an amazing start with this ledge trap, continuing to shut down so much of Forsburn's recovery, but he blasts right through thanks to the re-teleport into one of the smoke clouds.
That was just phenomenal edge guarding. And I also love the presence of mind from Dinos to remove the smoke as well when given the opportunity without giving up the ledge. And it's that decision-making that I look to see when you fight against a player of this caliber, where, as you well put it, Cake's on another level. Like, Cake sits very comfortably within the pantheon of top Dinos players, but still a very fallible player nonetheless. And knowing how to make a player like that bereft of resources in a situation so early in a set is really important, because you set the tone for playing into that game.
Surviving so long here, though, and then going down to the combust, finding the tech into the down air as well. Now shoes on the other foot as we are reestablishing so much pressure with Clone, but if you're gonna go high, that's when instant Dactus comes out, and Cake, despite a 90-0 start from Plastic, Dinos is the one down the stock here.
Yeah, kind of wild how that works, right?
Yeah.
We had such an elegant beginning to this game one, and it just all falls apart for Dinos.
Rivals is a swingy game, and that type of momentum, that ability to snowball, as you were mentioning a little bit earlier, is certainly on the side of Cake, who he is just waiting to try and find the pickup, and there it is, the up air with a quick little short hop to bait out the parry and punishing exuberantly with that combust combo.
And you know, it's a situation like this, which is why I even brought up the notion of like snowballing being a talent in itself in the first place, because Dinos started game one with such a strong beginning. Like, you had a amazing, like as you said, 0-90. That's not easy percent to rack up on Forsburn in general, let alone the best to do it. And as soon as that momentum was taken away and Cake held it firmly, a stock goes down. Another one quick to follow. And the last in the blink of an eye.
Sometimes it's just that easy. Sometimes.
He makes it look that easy.
Very much sometimes. Cake is like one of those players that I feel like he'll play out his game and acknowledge that, like, man, like, you're not playing this matchup you're playing this matchup in X way. And I know the weaknesses of my character so fluidly, but because of the way that you're trying to exploit them, I know how to cover myself as best I can. And like, that's what makes his Forsburn so dangerous, and why the character continues to not really get changed. Cake is just so adaptable in the moment, able to turn a 150 to 80 some deficit into a massive 3-stock at the end of the day. Finally, in the terms of this game 2, the not changer stage is going to allow Plastic to establish himself a little bit more firmly and finally finish his food.
Yeah, I think the stage itself was played about as well as Dinos could ask for, because Clarence just has fantastic tools for being able to cover the platforms, whether it's for edge guarding or for just finding a straight hit and fighting back, and then converting any of those hits into a very fluid string of hits for the sake of just racking up the damage amongst the edge guards. Like, here, finally getting a chance to see what he can do once actually securing the stop, but you got to build up more with that. A whole lot of smoke on the screen, but you're doing a fine job of building up the percent, as Cake's already sitting at 96 to count there on that second stop.
And then we're seeing just some really, really good defense on the part of Plastic Dinos up until the very end of there. A lot of smoke right now, though, and it's seeing a lot of places that Cake can just kind of maneuver to with plenty of means to dissuade and disguise all of his intentions, as Plastic Dinos finds himself deep off stage up until it's all gone. The counter from off stage, though, Hangman. Just a perfect example of what kind of mix-ups that Clarion can offer on a stage like this, but the fair one the fair hit fall into the combust immediately turns it back into Cake's favor.
I love the wait for the proper positioning off of that too. Like,
sure.
do not want to exhaust any resources while the no fun zone was active. And just in general, being able to adjust the tempo of the match just on command is really impressive. And I would say so even with a character like Forsberg. Like, yeah, you have to take the time to establish all of that smoke and whatnot. But, like, your positioning is key here. Like, you could just put out smoke, and it is what it is. But you got to be in the right spot at the right time to make it matter.
There's these like little moments that you can see throughout the game where it's just like, man, that is Plastic Dinos wanting to find the stock and just pushing a little bit too hard, getting a little bit too desperate at the wrong moment. And for me, that clearly was the upbeat in center stage chasing a jump. Like, let Forsberg jump there. His come down options are almost very obviously like some sort of smoke mix-up, which there's plenty, but chasing with upbeat is at that distance is never going to get you anywhere. Like, Plastic Dinos needs to carry on what he's been doing early in these games, which is just slowly whittling down resources rather than trying to make these giant explosive moments that turn the game on its head.
Yeah, being mindful of like how risky you're willing to get for a stock is something that I feel to get lost in the moment, especially in a high pressure situation where like the stocks are starting to dwindle, the percentages are starting to rise, and you have the opportunity to take it all from your opponent. But like keeping yourself well composed is very important, especially when you consider how both these characters can just take control of space at that moment's notice. Although Plastic Dino is doing a fantastic job of trying to deny that type of a situation from Forsberg. It's going to get hit right away as we move along to the opposite side.
Just going for the forward strong out after the cave. Oh, trying to reset, but great tech option. It just doesn't matter. Able to find that hit, acknowledging that a lot of times Plastic Dinos have been trying to avoid the tech scenario, only using so sparingly. A lot of DI up, a lot of jump aways. So the A landing there getting caught. He knew that he wasn't able to get back inside.
There we go. Downstrong is going to clean that up. Very tricky clone play from Cake, but it wasn't enough to slow down Dinos.
We are looking for him. I like that delay from Plastic Dinos, though. He was so good in terms of trying to find the way back, and there's a big combo that he's been hunting for.
Oh, the punch up too?
Just able to sneakily land and put out those jabs.
That.
So
taking
nice.
full advantage of how close to the base plat that those platforms on Spirit Tree are. And it's one of the reasons why I was very confused why this was the stage we went to for Game 3. While Merchant Port, I felt like it wasn't going especially bad for Dinos. I understand the stage switch, but this is a gamble that's been paying off fairly well.
And it's a commonly good stage for clearing. The overhang of these platforms allow for those extra recovery mix-ups. I love the placement of that up B as well. You're just able to shut down ledges so well because clearing can cover high and low so effectively since the platforms are so close. But, I mean, the Forsberg's platform play is just so effective, and Cake, a mastery, is being shown off. The parry, though, finding another lead, and more importantly here, Hangman, it's a late-game lead for Dinos. Had to make sure it was still alive afterwards.
You see the smoke building up, you see just position just to clean up the stock.
Oh my Lanta, says Bill.
Yeah, no, the players are starting to get a little reckless themselves on account. Oh! I was going to say the set was starting to grow long in the tooth in that particular Game 3, but Cake shaved it off right quick.
It's just so, it's so
okay,
tough.
Okay.